everyone. Welcome to another episode of No Title Needed, right here at the beautiful Feinstein's Cabaret at the Hotel Carmichael in Carmel, Indiana, USA. I am Cynthia Collins.
And I'm Scott Osborne.
We are your co-hosts.
Yes, we are.
Oh, we're so happy. And we're extra happy today because we have a wonderful, wonderful guest, Jean Lee. Correct? Jean?
Yes.
Jean, you're wearing your logo already. You are all decked out with your T-shirt. Right? What is it you do?
Well, I am a homeschool mom to three. But what do I do, as a mom and a woman?
Right.
We are our own people. Right? We are our own people. So I am a neuroscientist by education.
Wow.
I am a global media strategist by trade, and then became a mother, and now I'm in my reinvention.
Oh my gosh, what are you reinventing after all of those things that use up so much brain power?
Well, I wanted to find something that I could incorporate my family into. So it was a choice of go back to work in an office every day, all day, and be away from my children, or find something that I could continue to have this time with them while they're still little. And so I started a learning pod. I actually have 67 middle school students every Wednesday that I teach. Things like engineering, geography, economics. And last year I launched the Midwest Homeschool Expo, which is the largest and most rapidly growing academically focused homeschool conference in the country.
Where do you have this expo?
So this year the expo is at the Crowne Plaza, Indianapolis Airport.
Okay.
And it's likely to be over 1,000 attendees.
Okay, so this expo.
Big.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
So this expo, all these... Tell us about the people who come to this. Are they other homeschool people who do homeschooling or have other companies like yours? What is it? Like if I was say I'm going to go to the homeschool expo, what am I going to say?
Yeah, like parents or children too. That's part
Right,
Yeah.
right. And my kid, I want to homeschool my kid, so I'm going to go to this expo and find out all kinds of fantastic things about homeschooling.
Sure. Well, we live in a great state for alternative learning. And Indiana has many school choices. That could be traditional public school. It could be a private school option. It could be a hybrid school where you might go 2 or 3 days a week and you do the other days learning at home. Mm-hmm. It could be a micro school. Could be a learning pod like I host 1 day a week. It could also be traditional homeschooling where the parents manage all of that learning at home. So homeschooling means many things to many different people. And it's really a hot button topic right now. School choice, different types of learning, where are our kids going to go? And so at the Midwest Homeschool Expo, it features all of those types of learning options. Now, it could be a school option, could be a micro school, it could be a public school option that's a hybrid program or a charter program that looks differently than a traditional classroom, because there are many, many choices here, which a lot of people don't know about. And then there are also exhibitors like coding classes, STEM programs. The museums are going to be there. The Indianapolis Children's Museum, Conner Prairie, the State Museum, the Historical Society. All of those venues also offer weekday homeschool classes. So something that's really interesting about homeschooling, which I use a broad definition of that word. Any of these non-traditional learning programs where we're not going to a traditional classroom all day, our school looks different, we outsource a lot of learning. So we might go take a class about the Holocaust at the Historical Society. We might go take a class about dinosaurs at the Indiana State Museum. And that's how our learning is different. Mm-hmm. It's really micro bites of different topics, and then we do our core learning at home.
Seems very interactive too.
Very interactive.
Hands-on.
To me, when I used to hear homeschooling, I'm like, there's no interaction. Kid stays home. The parents teach the kids. What extracurricular activities do they have? How are they socializing? You know what I mean? How they get socialized. But now it seems like it's really changing.
It's really changing.
For the better.
For the better. We are never home. My kids do fine art lessons. We do karate lessons every day. We do soccer lessons. We do piano lessons. We are always, always going. Mm-hmm. And then there's also things like learning pods. There's park meetups. There's so many different activities. I actually host a homeschool community calendar. I started it because, as everything, I needed something to figure out what's going on any given day of the week. I know I'm open at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, but there was no place I could go to find that. So what I started doing was creating a calendar. It's hosted on my website, theacademyofchaos.com. And you can go there and look at anything that's going. There's more than 20 homeschool activities on any given weekday.
Wow.
So if I know on 3 p.m. on a Wednesday I'm open, I can go to the calendar and look at and see what's available across the whole metro area.
That's such a development in my head because, initially it was like, well, homeschooling is you learn what your parents learn. And it's nice to hear such a
Well, that curriculum that they give you, and that's it. Here's the curriculum, teach them here at home.
Right.
So when you do your pod, right, you have where is this? How do you do this? Where's go?
I started because I wanted my child to do JA Biztown. That's how this whole thing started evolving. And I said, hey, if I volunteer to teach this class, can I bring some homeschool kids to JA Biztown, which all the public school kids in our street had done it. They said it was awesome. And so I wanted to be able to do that. Within 2 weeks, 40 kids signed up. Okay. And off we were going as the Academy of Chaos.
So you all meet up.
So we meet up. We meet up at the Westville Library. Okay. And we went through the whole curriculum. At the end of that curriculum, now I'll tell you I had a newborn at that time too. The parents said, what are you going to teach next? Our kids loved your class. You were so fun and they want to do more. And I said, well, I didn't really have an intention to be a school or a teacher. So let me think about it. They said, we'd love to learn about geography. So my family is very diverse. I'm a foster mom. I'm an adoptive mom. We are an interfaith and interracial family. So we are kind of a United Nations of diversity. And it was really cool to teach geography in that situation because we brought so many different topics, backgrounds, foods, clothing, all things from our family's different backgrounds to share with other students. And then those students' families also brought theirs. So now we have this multicultural learning environment that's community-based, where kids are making tons of friends because there's 40 of them in a class. The parents are highly engaged and interested. It's a drop-off class, so they can also leave and have a brain break, have a doctor's appointment, go take a nap in the car, whatever they want to do, which gives them an opportunity also to get away.
Creates a beautiful melting pot.
Do you think, right before we take our break here, do you think that certain homeschooling, certain parents homeschooled because they're like, I can tell you, a friend of mine who, when she moved down to Florida, she's like, the public schools are not good here. I'm going to homeschool my kids. Do you think that's how some people still think? You know what I mean? Yeah. Now you have all these, what you're telling us, you have all these activities, you have all these different outlets, but it wasn't always like that.
It wasn't always like that.
Do you think that because people were like, public school's not good?
Definitely some people have that opinion. But from my perspective, public school doesn't work for every student. So I take the perspective, listen, here's what I say to everybody. We're all one illness or death away from public school. If something happened to me tomorrow, my kids would be there, and it's necessary. Right. Not everybody has the opportunity to homeschool or the desire. It's a huge level of commitment and work. So many people do have that perspective. However, it's amazing when we can come together as a community, utilize the resources we have available to us, and it doesn't necessarily work for every child. So creating custom education, now I'm choosing what curricula works for my child. What outlets am I going to use for outsourcing specific subjects for my child? Can that child sit all day in a chair? Mine can't.
I couldn't.
Mine can't. And so now she's thriving.
Yeah, right.
Fantastic.
Right. It's you're really broadening. It's such a broad spectrum here.
Yes.
Which helps the kid. I mean, why make the kid do... I know, I agree with you. It's like, you're going to sit here and it's not always right for that kid.
Yeah, the typical education system.
Then they're stifled.
Doesn't work for everyone.
And it doesn't. And then they're stifled, and then they don't grow, and you don't know what their the potential is for these kids sometimes, But
because they can't memorize and regurgitate. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah. Or they don't take tests great, or they're... a little hyperactive, like I was, I absolutely, had problems concentrating when I was a kid. So I think it's great. We have to take a break.
Yes, we do.
Real quick. We're going to be back with Jean Lee. Thanks.
I'm Randy Sorrell. I hope you love some of my art that you are about to experience. Cheers. Fruit of the Vine is this one's title, and it celebrates our love of wine and vineyards and historic maps and beautiful grapes. I think you would love this somewhere in your home. If you dig music, especially jazz or blues and small nightclubs or even the Palladium, you're really going to enjoy this rhythm and blues oil paintings. Just absolutely captures the character and the vibe of being in one of those fun clubs. Welcome to Afternoon on the Sands. And if you've been there, you recognize it, right? Notre Dame, Eiffel Tower, one of the many historical bridges, cool oil painting with metallic. Oh, I love downtown Indy, and this is Monument Circle with the historic monument and Robert, Indiana's famous love sculpture, acrylic painting. What a great way to celebrate your heritage.
Hey, welcome back to No Title Needed with our guest, Jean Lee. Jean has been telling us about homeschooling and how it has really spread out and broadened and not what you kind of think it is. From my perspective, certainly.
Right. I've learned something already.
I didn't know any of this, and I think it really ups the game. I don't know what other term to use right now. But
What are the kids saying?
what's the new jargon?
No.
Yeah, you're really doing a great thing because obviously you homeschool your kids. And you were saying your daughter, who's 12, is homeschooled, but she does report to a teacher. Now, how many times a week?
So my oldest participates in a program called Braintree Academy, and Indiana is really an amazing place because we have so many school choice options. We have the option of traditional homeschooling, which is just totally on your own. As a parent, you buy the curricula, you choose what you're going to teach them, you make your own schedule. There's no oversight, which is great and works for many families. Then if you have a family who wants support, wants a scaffolding, maybe wants some teacher access, and oftentimes funding can be a challenge. Homeschool families oftentimes are having one parent stay home to do the educating and the other parent works. So that then puts them in a little bit of a tight financial situation. That's another reason why you might want to use one of these programs. It gives you access to your school funds. And there are several choices for that type of hybrid program. But for our family, that scaffolding has been really important for my daughter. Having access to a teacher, not to do her core teaching, but as a support when she has questions, when she just needs someone from an accountability perspective, that's really, really important. So how that works is once a week, we will upload lessons of what she's doing, not all of her work, but to demonstrate that she's doing learning that's adequate to meet state standards. She also participates in the state testing, which can make some people feel uneasy. And it's not for everybody, nor should it be. I love that here we have so many choices. But for us, I love that she does the state testing because when I first started homeschooling, I started in public school. COVID changed our life just like it did everybody else. It brought us home. And I said, I'm going to figure this out. When she tests every year, I just get a huge affirmation that I'm doing a good job because she performs well. She is high in the state of her results. So I know, okay, I've got this. I'm doing a good job. The curriculum I'm using is working. The amount of information I'm teaching her is adequate. And so for some parents, that's great. And they need that and like that.
Yeah.
And it's a personal education that no one knows that child better.
Yes.
And you really get to follow their strengths. And I think that that's really special and important.
Yeah, that's a good point, Scott, with their strengths. What is the kid's strengths? You know, like we were talking about before, that kid's strengths might not be taking a time test.
Yes.
You know, or, they need a little more time. Maybe they know the information, they've studied, but they just getting a little anxious.
Yeah, once they hold that number 2 pencil and see the Scantron, and heart starts pounding.
Right.
That's a little different.
And I think to make that kid perform at the best of their ability, I think they need to be, of course, it's like everybody. You need to have a comfort level. You know what I mean? And you perform better. I mean, I think that's a fact.
And the way you're learning it, the way you're learning the information when you're creating custom education is very different. So we're learning in a hands-on way. When I'm teaching engineering is a rapid prototyping class, but it's actually hidden as a writing class because they're doing engineering notebooks. They're creating documentation every single class. So they're getting this multifaceted class versus just a writing class where we're just writing essays versus a science class where we're only learning about science. There are so many things that can be combined that also shortens your day. Right. We get through our learning so much more quickly. But the custom education really is vital. Understanding, as you said, your child, you know them best, and then you can decide what's going to work for them.
Yeah. Let's first thing, you're not from here. I just switched right there because we were talking about your dialect, which you still have a little bit of that North Dakota. So, right. I mean, that's where you're from.
Yeah.
So we were, of course, talking about Fargo, who can't. Somebody's like, I'm from North Dakota. Oh, in the movie. But, and you said, you're like, of course, what'd you say? Of course, everybody from North Dakota knows the movie Fargo.
Right.
Of course.
Wood chipper.
Wood chipper. And
You betcha.
Yeah, betcha. Oh my God. What brought you in? You're from North Dakota. Sure. Now you're here in Indiana.
Well, I am a farm girl from North Dakota, and I always knew I wanted to see the world. So as soon as I could, I ran away. And I've lived in almost every major city. I went to college in Spain. I traveled. I saw the world. And I never imagined I would end up in a place like Indiana, but I'll tell you, I love it. And it has really become home. I've been here for 12 years. The people are so warm. It's an amazing city. I mean, really, it's not a large city. I've lived in many other major cities, but it has everything you could want. We have sports, we have music, we have food, we have art. It has everything to offer. And then when you're a family, it's a perfect place to raise children.
So you have your daughter. Is your daughter adopted or what? Or you said you foster kids? Or?
You know what? I was a foster mom. I'm an adoptive mom. I actually have 3 children. My youngest is 4. Okay. I have a 7-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. All girls.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm
3
also
girls.
Fierce when it comes to making opportunities for them. Yes. And that's also one thing that was really important to me in the work that I'm doing now. This is my reinvention in life. So I took time off to help raise my children and be with them. But I always yearned for when would I go back to work? I loved my career previously. And every day I thought about what would I do next? And this just was so simpatico to create this body of work that aligns with my children and is great for my family. And I get to support others. So this has been amazing. As a woman in my reinvention, as an entrepreneur, this is my 4th business. So being able to do that, the community network that has come out of this work, the people that I've been able to meet, the businesses that I have collaborated with, I do quarterly workshops to support parents who are exploring or currently doing homeschooling or alternative learning. I will partner with someone like Ultimate Ninjas and we'll host a quarterly workshop there. They will have a discounted access so kids can go participate in a class. Parents can come. I bring breakfast. We will have a presenter from the community. So one that's a very popular presenter is Erin Camp from Learning Understood. She'll talk about managing ADHD and anxiety in your student. Things that are really hard topics that we need help and support on as parents. I set it all up, so there's no reason to not come.
Right. When is this expo?
So the expo is on June 28th.
Okay.
It's here in Indianapolis.
Yep.
It's going to be amazing.
At the Crown
Plaza, Indianapolis Airport.
Yep. Okay.
91 exhibitors, 43 presenters. It's a full day. And there's a mom's workshop the night before. which is not homeschool specific, but I'll tell you, when I did the expo last year, it was so much work. I felt so depleted that I needed something for myself. And I thought, as women, as moms, we're all sitting around at home eating chocolate, crying in our pantry, thinking, where's my friends? Where's everybody? Where's that beautiful picture of 5 girls on Facebook on a beach? I want that, right? I want that village. But we're stuck at home with our kids, in our bathrobe and tired. And I said, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make something. I didn't find something that was bringing women together, a really focused discussion where we can come as we are, where we can talk about all of the hard things in life and we can celebrate each other's successes. And so this is the foray into building that village. It's a Friday night
support group. I mean, it's a support group,
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a panel discussion with 5 presenters. So we're going to have Regina Sloan, who is a coach. We're going to have Vicki Duke from Insomnia Mom. We're going to have Erin Camp from Learning Understood. We're going to have Tasha Eisinger, who is an author of the Little Spot series, and Allie Emmons, who actually does Good Grief Mama podcast. So it's really going to be just an amazing group of women.
Holy mackerel, you
full
have
weekend.
Really?
so it's the whole. Okay, so right, the expo is just the one day.
The general expo is on Saturday.
Yeah,
The mom's workshop is the night before.
okay,
And then there's also a teen summit all day Saturday.
okay.
I felt like I needed something for my teens, my class of 67. So I said, I got to make it.
Yep.
Oh my God, you're nonstop.
Seriously.
That's for sure.
Well, on behalf of local parents,
Thank you.
thanks for what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
really
because it sounds like it's just not just. I mean, I know it's homeschool, but it certainly sounds like it's expanding out to wherever, like you said, whatever schooling
Yes.
a kid goes to.
Yeah.
Whatever schooling a kid goes to. And
Yeah.
the expo is such an amazing, just collaboration, gathering of learning resources. It's a secular event, so it's welcoming for families of all backgrounds, all learning styles. And even if you are in traditional school, it's a great place to just come and check out, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
What kind of classes are people offering? Looking for robotics.
Right, because that
looking
kid
for
can go and take a class.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wherever they're getting their education, they can go and take these whatever classes.
More than what's typically offered.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So any kid that is in, say, okay, I go to public school, but I'm going to go and take this extracurricular,
Yes.
activity or this class. That's great. That's great. We got to wrap it up.
We do.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately.
Jean, okay, from North Dakota, thank you. And it sounds like you're doing wonderful things. Keep it up. Yeah, thanks. I think what you're, like I said, what you're doing, you're just expanding.
It's really special.
You're really expanding this and almost breaking the myth of homeschooling.
Absolutely.
Is what you're doing.
Yep.
Really. And all these other people too that are going to show up at this expo from around the country are doing. So thank you. Thank you for being
Nice
here.
to meet you.
Thank you for being here for No Title Needed. Come on over to Feinstein's. Have a great cocktail. See some great entertainment. It's a lovely venue and you will not be disappointed.
Great evening. Good date night.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Good date night.
Yep.
Yeah, those days are gone. So come on over with your date or with anyone for that matter that you wish to bring with you over to Feinstein's. I'm Cynthia Collins.
And I'm Scott Osborne.
And we are your co-hosts. And thanks for joining us for another episode of No Title Needed.
See you later.